After hitting rock bottom, I decided to take a break from school and travel. I dropped out of the national painting competition, but someone else seemed more upset about it than I was. My boyfriend's obsession, Cora, started blowing up my phone, begging me to pick up my brush again. By then, I was already 1,000 miles away, snorkeling and exploring tide pools, having the time of my life. In my last life, the masterpiece I poured my heart into was reported for plagiarism. A mountain of evidence was dumped online, and the internet went insane. My explanations were useless. The cyberbullying escalated to real-life attacks when an extremist follower threw a Molotov cocktail into our house. My parents died in the fire. I fell into a deep depression. In the end, I slit my wrists and died in a cold bathtub. When I opened my eyes again, I was back, 1 week before the competition. When I opened my eyes again, I was reborn. You're totally going to win first place again. The familiar voice snapped me back to reality. I knew that line all too well. I'd never forget it. Overconfidence isn't a good thing, as I learned the hard way in my past life. Seeing the date on my phone, my eyes started to well up. The people around me were looking at me with pure admiration, giving me thumbs ups and showering me with praise. That's our salty sketch for you. With you in the running, you'll bring honor to the school again. In a national competition like this, your piece is guaranteed to be #1. I can't wait to see it. Salty Sketch was my online handle, a name my close friends all knew. I'd posted a lot of illustrations online, gained a decent following, and landed several commercial projects. An editor had already contacted me. My first art book was supposed to be published soon. Lost in thought, I felt a tap on my shoulder. My teacher was standing behind me, his face beaming with pride. I have total faith in you for this competition. I've seen your work, and for you this is a whole new level. We're all just waiting for you to take first place. The hands resting on my shoulders made my heart sink. It felt like a knife twisting in my gut. What a shame. In my last life, I didn't win a single award, just as they hadn't expected. Not only did I not win, but I was also forcibly disqualified, my name smeared across the internet for plagiarism. Even my online accounts were flooded with hateful DMs. Just for defending me, my teacher and classmates were also cyberbullied. When the evidence of my supposed repeat offenses came out, my teacher was implicated and hounded until he was forced to resign. The memory of it felt like being plunged into ice water, my limbs growing stiff. I remembered their words, every single one dripping with malice. Plagiarist freak. You've been getting away with it for years. You got famous by sucking other people's blood. Why don't you just die? You're an ugly thief nobody wants. We already dug up your real identity. Just you wait, karma's coming for you. How does it feel to get caught? Ha! Feel like begging for forgiveness? Haha, too late. People like you are trash, and anyone associated with you is just as bad. My breathing quickened. I dug my nails into my palm, the pain shocking me back to the present and reminding me of someone else. My boyfriend Liam. He had a sister he never shut up about, Cora. They weren't related by blood, but they were incredibly close. With a mother who was a renowned artist and a father who was a university professor, Cora was the school's golden girl. In our year, no one had a better starting point. A person like that should have been in a completely different world from me. Yet, in my last life, it was she who produced all the evidence of my plagiarism, nailing me to a cross of public shame. But all those illustrations and designs were my original creations. I had spent countless nights hunched over my computer, drawing them stroke by stroke. How could they possibly be plagiarized? I refused to believe it. I went over the so-called evidence again and again. After seeing it, I was stunned. They were identical. The creation times, the content, all the drawings were nearly the same. Aside from some color and detail changes, some of her versions were even finished earlier than mine. How was that possible? My own work, completed by someone else before me. In that moment, faced with such damning proof, my face went pale. I couldn't understand how my work, both published and unpublished, had ended up in someone else's hands. My heart pounded. I looked at the half-finished painting on my screen, and with a trembling hand, I hit delete. I glanced around, still feeling unsafe, and shut down the computer entirely. If this piece was going to be stolen, Then I would just change my style, try a different approach, and draw something completely new. This time, nothing could go wrong. The scene felt eerily similar to my past life, only now it was happening a week earlier. My heart sank. With the experience of my past life, I couldn't help but be on high alert. Looking at the line art I had just finished on the screen, my scalp tingled. Soon enough, Cora updated her own status. Thanks for all the concern. Latest progress. The line art is now complete. Could the world really be this coincidental? Staring at my original work on her screen, I remembered her in my past life, tearfully denouncing me, telling the world I had plagiarized her multiple times and repeatedly threatened her in private to keep her quiet. I had no choice, she had cried. She threatened to kill herself and hurt my parents. When she and Liam appeared on camera together, her beautiful, tear-streaked face instantly won everyone's sympathy. But the evidence wasn't enough for her. She even had her parents, an artist and a professor, come on to authenticate her claims. They put my work and her work side by side online for comparison. The high-profile livestream immediately drew a massive crowd of netizens. I can't believe that bitch built her whole reputation on stealing from others. Poor, beautiful, kind-hearted Cora. To think she was pushed this far before she dared to expose her. How dare she? Cora is so sweet, and she still had to be threatened by someone like that. People like her should just die. Cora, don't be merciful. She'll get what's coming to her. Someone like that needs to suffer. If something bad is going to happen, it should happen to her, and she should take her parents with her. The whole family can go to hell together. I didn't understand why it had turned out like this. Why Cora would fabricate lies and sling mud at me. I desperately tried to clear my name, even attempting to report it to the police to prove my innocence. But faced with the overwhelming evidence and the anonymous online abuse, the police said there was nothing they could do. At the peak of the cyberbullying, Cora won first place in the competition. The day a photo of her holding the trophy appeared online, I went to confront her in person. But before I could even see her, I was chased away by the security guards at her apartment complex. A photo of me near Cora's home was snapped by a netizen and uploaded. Immediately, people maliciously speculated that I was there for revenge. Cora posted just 3 words. I'm so scared. But those 3 words were all it took. My home address and all my personal information were leaked online. Extremist netizens showed up, voted to teach me a lesson, and threw a lit Molotov cocktail into my house. My parents were innocent. After the fire was extinguished, I saw their desperate handprints burned into the walls. Thinking of this, a deep hatred surged within me, and my hands clenched into tight fists. I have to find out what really happened. As I was lost in thought, 2 people walked by, their conversation drifting over. Oh my God, Cora is starting her painting over. I feel so bad for her. I heard her new piece has a totally different style, a whole new way of expressing herself. That plagiarist is so shameless. Are they specifically targeting Cora? There are only 3 days left. Who can start over now? But if it's Cora, maybe. Hearing this, I felt like I'd been hit over the head. I stared blankly, unable to process it for a long moment. My hands trembled as I pulled out my phone, only to see a message from a classmate. The suspicion in their tone was impossible to hide. Zoe, did you plagiarize someone? I saw Cora's new concept today, and it's exactly the same as yours. Zoe, just tell me the truth. In that moment, standing there, it felt like I'd been struck by lightning. My draft, it was stolen again. My heart pounded like a drum. I stood frozen, a chill running down my spine. The memories of being insulted and bullied in my past life came flooding back, and my first instinct was to run. I couldn't figure out where I'd gone wrong. I had checked my computer and my dorm room. Nothing seemed out of place. My new drawing was just a rough sketch. I hadn't even thought about the colors yet. In just one day, Cora had already surpassed my progress. When I saw her pinned post announcing she would finish it tonight, a wave of powerlessness washed over me. People sympathize with the underdog. Compared to my ordinary background, Cora came from a wealthy family. She was beautiful, and no one would ever believe someone like her would need to plagiarize me. With her advantages, she should have been 1,000 times better off than me. But it was precisely this person who had stolen my ideas and all my work, then had the audacity to turn around and accuse me. Even though I tried so hard to avoid it, the thing I dreaded most had happened anyway. Beneath Cora's latest progress update, a comment suddenly appeared, pushing the post into the spotlight. "Hey guys, I think I know who's plagiarizing Cora. And here's something terrifying. I think she's still doing it, and her progress is perfectly in sync with Cora's." The second those comments appeared, the thread exploded before Cora even had a chance to respond. My hand trembled, and my phone slipped, clattering to the ground. My heart leaped into my throat. As I picked it up, a new notification popped up. Cora had replied to the top comment. "Thank you all for your concern. I'm sure the person who is doing this will see this post and won't dare to do it again. There are only a few days left until the competition. I'll be updating my progress constantly and sharing the latest developments. Feel free to join the discussion and follow my journey." I glanced at the image she posted. When I saw a sliver of exposed line work in the corner, I froze. I rushed back to my dorm. It was empty, the only sound my own ragged breathing. Gasping for air, I hurriedly opened my computer and compared them side by side. A few minutes later, a chill ran through me, and the hair on my arms stood on end. They were identical. The draft, the details, the similarity was at least 80%. This wasn't just plagiarism anymore, it was basically the same painting. But this was a draft I had finished less than 24 hours ago. To avoid being copied again, I had torn up the paper line art and scanned my computer for viruses beforehand. I hadn't even used my own laptop. Sitting in the chair, I felt like I'd been plunged into an icy abyss, struggling to breathe. Was there something I was missing? I hadn't seen Liam or Cora these past few days. My roommate wasn't around when I was drawing. It was safe to say that besides me, absolutely no one had seen this drawing. An hour later, I snapped out of it and reached for my computer with a trembling hand. I don't know how long I sat there. The sky outside grew dark. When my roommate opened the door, I finally dropped my hands from the keyboard. "Oh my God, Zoe. How long have you been sitting here? Don't tell me you've been drawing this whole time. Have you even eaten dinner?" I heard her gasp behind me. The moment the computer screen went dark, a wave of hunger washed over me. I checked my phone. I had been at my computer for 7 hours. I smiled at my roommate, double-checked my computer one last time, and feeling relieved, headed out for dinner. But just as I started to relax and quickly finished my new piece, ready to eat, my phone buzzed. Cora had updated her progress. She was standing in front of her computer, smiling and making a peace sign, a digital clock on the screen displaying the time. When I saw what she'd posted, the spoon in my hand dropped back into my soup. At the same time, a familiar voice called out from above. "Zoe, you're eating here too? Let's sit together." My phone screen was still lit up. The person who had just posted was now standing in front of me, smiling innocently with her hands behind her back, her eyes looking right through me. Cora stood there with perfect makeup and empty hands. Behind her, Liam held her phone and a handbag. When he looked up, our eyes met. I was the first to look away, down at the words on my screen, utterly speechless. This time, Cora had also finished her painting. She had completed it half an hour before I did. "Thanks for all the encouragement, everyone. I've finished my piece. Liam has been so busy lately, it's rare he has free time today. You're not mad, are you, Zoe?" Cora snatched her bag from Liam's hand, feigning panic as she spoke with painstaking caution. Before I could even open my mouth, the man staring intently at her spoke up, his tone dismissive. "What are you talking about, Cora? Why would Zoe be mad at you? What right does she have to be mad? She can't compare to you. She wouldn't even understand what you're talking about." I couldn't help but clench my fists. Pushing down my confusion, I acted like I knew nothing and coolly invited them to sit down. "Want to grab a bite together?" A pair of eyes landed on me. Cora covered her mouth and giggled. "I'll just have some water. I'm already getting fat. A girl's gotta watch her figure." Her hand traced her slender waist, and Liam's gaze was immediately captivated. Seeing that I didn't seem to care, he stared openly for a few more seconds and told her, right in front of me, that she looked perfect just the way she was. Basking in the compliments and adoration, Cora casually asked about my entry for the competition, a flicker of triumph in her eyes. "I haven't left my room all day. I've been pulling all-nighters for this competition. She pointed to the non-existent dark circles under her eyes and pouted. At her words, my hand paused. When she asked about me, my heart sank. After a few seconds, I spoke. Actually, I don't think it's perfect yet. I'm planning to tweak the details a bit more. If I'm going to do it, I want to do it right. I need to revise it again. Cora's expression didn't change. She just nodded, appearing completely normal. The three of us had just sat down when a group of guys approached our table, their faces alight with excitement. You're Cora, right? You're so beautiful, even more than in your photos. We saw what happened online. We support you. You have to expose that plagiarism creep. If you need anything at all, just let us know. A damsel in distress. We'll definitely stand up for you. The guys were blushing. Cora puffed out her chest, said thank you and smiled at them. Wow, with your support, I'll definitely do my best. Let's all cheer each other on. Maybe the person who plagiarized has their own difficulties. She said it with such sincerity, but I knew she was a wolf in sheep's clothing and had no intention of letting me go. The atmosphere at the table was strange. Liam's face was flushed with anger at the guys hitting on Cora. Seeing her smile at other men, he couldn't sit still and let out a cold snort. If Cora needs help, it's not your place to step in. I'm all she needs. Don't think I don't know what you're all after. The situation was getting awkward, but suddenly a female voice from behind broke the silence. If you hadn't said anything, I would have thought you were Cora's boyfriend. Too bad you already have a girlfriend. And she's so plain, all drab and mousy. Seriously, the way you stick to Cora. Who knows what your real intentions are? Oh right, isn't your girlfriend that famous artist from our school? She's in the competition too. Who's to say you didn't steal Cora's designs for her? Cora is so beautiful and kind-hearted, not like your girlfriend, a nobody who had to claw her way up from the dirt. Your girlfriend might be a pro, but our Cora has been immersed in the arts since she was a child. I believe in one thing. A person's face reflects their heart. And I heard that as soon as the news about Cora being plagiarized came out, she was busy changing her draft. I won't spell it out for you. You all get it. If you have nothing to hide, why rush to change your finished work? The tall girl who had come in with the group of guys stood with her arms crossed, looking at me with utter contempt, her nose in the air. She was beautiful, I was ugly. She was good, I was evil. The rumor had already spread online that my work was highly similar to Cora's. Even though it was just my initials, anyone could guess who it was. This group was just short of saying my name out loud. Cora lifted her chin proudly, basking in their praise, her eyes on me holding a flicker of unconcealed malice. Liam told me to leave, not to sit here and ask for trouble. But I knew if I left, it would look like I was guilty and afraid to face them. This time I couldn't run away anymore. Steeling myself, I dodged Liam's hand as he tried to push me away and spoke to Cora, my voice trembling. Cora, I want to see your competition piece. A glass of water splashed onto my head. The girl who had squeezed in next to Cora jumped up and threw a glass of ice water at me. Her face contorted with rage. You bitch. In your dreams. I was drenched and humiliated. Laughter erupted from other tables watching the drama unfold. Cora covered her mouth, and I couldn't tell if she was shocked or smiling. After the girl finished cursing me out, the corners of Cora's red lips curled upwards. Okay, I trust you, Zoe. Several people stood up to protest, seemingly confused by her decision. But Cora wasn't flustered at all. She opened her laptop for me to see and even started dabbing the water off me in a show of intimacy. Zoe wouldn't plagiarize me. We're very good friends. A wave of contemptuous murmurs went through the crowd. They looked at me with disgust, pointing fingers as I buried my head in the screen. I don't know, someone saw her with their own eyes. Cora, you're being naive. It's always the people closest to you who can betray you. You can't judge a book by its cover. I stared at the screen in disbelief. How was this possible? Why did Cora seem to know my every thought, no matter what I did? The moment I saw the image, a shiver ran down my spine. It was too similar, an 80% match. Besides a few minor details, the overall composition was identical to mine. And most importantly, I checked the timestamp. She had finished it an hour before me. Cold sweat beaded on my forehead. I was speechless. Cora's hand rested on my shoulder as she asked with a smile, "So, what do you think?" What did I think? Meeting her gaze, I dug my fingernails into my palm, feeling dazed. After a few seconds, I looked away and said decisively, "It's not that great. This piece has a lot of flaws." Clang. The moment I finished speaking, the person across the table shot up, knocking over a water glass in their haste. Cora's face was a mask of panic and suspicion. She frowned, looking at me uncertainly before speaking hesitantly. "What do you mean, Zoe? What do you think is wrong with it? Can you give me some advice?" The surrounding voices were a cacophony of insults. The moment I spoke, people started advising her against listening to me. "Cora, she's the one who copied you. Her intentions are as clear as day. How can she be so shameless? What the hell are you talking about, you plagiarist freak? Mind your own business. If you don't know anything, don't comment." There were plenty of indignant voices. Cora never got her answer from me. I stood up and walked out, weathering the storm of insults. The second I got back to my dorm, the pent-up emotions finally exploded. I saw my desk and cabinets, which had clearly been rummaged through. The shredded pieces of my draft from the trash can were gone. I opened my phone, and my DMs had been completely flooded. Some crusader for justice had broken into my dorm looking for evidence, found the scraps in my trash, and painstakingly taped the draft back together. That hand-drawn line art was now all over the internet. The proof that I had plagiarized Cora was now irrefutable. Who knows when she managed to get a look at Cora's draft? Cora said she finished that draft 2 days ago. This girl must have just seen it. She spent all day today hiding in her dorm, secretly copying Cora's work. It's disgusting. No wonder I didn't see her go out. I live in the dorm next door, and I heard she was locked in her room all day. So gross. Cora, go make her pay. I didn't need to open the messages to know what they said. I stared at my phone and started to laugh, but then tears squeezed out of my eyes. A sense of powerlessness washed over me, a mixture of fear and confusion. I took a deep breath, remembering the uncontrollable anger from my depression in my past life, and sighed. I thought coming back would change things, but no matter how much I struggled, I always ended up back where I started. Looking at the digital painting on my computer, I silently put on my glasses. After a long while, I dropped my hands and wearily rubbed my eyes. When my roommate came back with late-night snacks, she saw me and fell silent, her gaze shifting away. "Zoe, we heard that you. Even though we believe you, the evidence online, Her voice trailed off. All 3 of my roommates' eyes were fixed on the computer screen behind me. When they saw the image clearly, they fell silent for a moment, then gasped in amazement. "Oh my God, Zoe, this one is absolutely beautiful. How could you possibly be a plagiarist? If you submit this, you'll definitely." Watching them crowd around my computer, full of praise, I calmly closed the laptop and shook my head. "No. I've decided to withdraw from the competition. I'm quitting." The dorm room fell silent. My roommates gathered around me, confused. "Zoe, you have the talent. Why? Just because of some online rumors? You don't have to." I pulled out my suitcase and started packing silently. Hearing their words stirred a mix of emotions in me, but this time, I resolutely shook my head. I've thought it through. The competition isn't the most important thing. This whole thing has seriously affected my daily life. I have to quit. The anxiety that had been plaguing me for so long finally vanished. The moment I decided to give up the competition, I felt a sense of relief, but my body felt incredibly exhausted. I called my academic advisor. This time, I decided to give myself a break first. I gave myself a month to rest properly and spend time with my parents. As for Cora, sitting on the high-speed train home, I saw her post and couldn't help but feel a little dazed. Successfully submitted my entry. The previous version was a bit unpolished, but I've revised it. Wait for my good news, everyone. Seeing the post, I just smiled. The familiar sight of my house made my eyes turn red. I tilted my head back, trying hard not to let my parents see anything was wrong. "Why is my little girl back? You didn't even say anything. I would have had your dad pick you up. I need to buy some of your favorite foods. You must be tired from the trip." My parents saw me from a distance. They didn't ask why I was back or anything else. They just told me to put my things down, wash my hands, and get ready for a good meal. The tears I had managed to hold back outside the door now streamed down uncontrollably. Mom, Dad, I want to take a good rest. I want to go to the hospital for a full checkup. After committing suicide due to depression in my past life, I cherish my healthy body even more in this one. The first thing I did when I got home was go to the hospital for a complete physical. After several visits, I looked at the few abnormal results, and my expression darkened. After further tests, I took the medical reports and left the house. When I returned, I gave my parents a hug, a smile finally appearing on my face. Dad, Mom, let's the three of us go to Dalian. They stared at me blankly, the suggestion not quite sinking in. The next morning, the three of us were on a plane to Dalian. The money I had saved up over the years from freelance illustration work was for a moment just like this. Feeling the sea breeze on my face, the gloom in my heart was swept away. Mom, let's try the local seafood rice for lunch. I want to try the seaweed buns too. Watching the silver sand beach under the sunset, I closed my eyes in the sea breeze, holding my parents' hands, my face beaming with a smile. My mom handed me a light jacket and a snack. The vinegar in the sweet and sour pork was a bit sharp, but it was delicious. The food recommended online was great too. Walking along the beach, I listened happily as my parents chatted about everyday things, feeling a deep sense of peace. Without any burdens on my shoulders, this was the most relaxed I had ever felt. Liam seemed to have a lot of questions for me, calling and texting me over and over. His questions were endless. He'd ask why I dropped out of the competition, why I took a leave of absence without telling him, and most annoyingly, Zoe, you are so selfish and inconsiderate. You've been drawing online for so long, and now you suddenly go dark. Is that fair to your followers? And the competition? How could you just quit like that? What the hell are you playing at? Even Cora couldn't resist sending me a message. Zoe, why did you stop drawing? And what about the competition? Surfacing from a snorkel, my good mood was completely ruined by these two. As I ate some gooey, spicy hot pot with my parents, I sucked in a sharp breath and took a sip of the water my mom handed me. These two were up to no good. Even though I wasn't in the competition, they still wouldn't let me go. I blocked both of their numbers and all their social media, then peacefully enjoyed my food. Dalian was a wonderful place. The sea breeze seemed to blow away all my troubles. After deleting their contact info, I took a calm look at the nasty comments online. Cora is a true genius. Her entry for this competition will definitely win first place. Good riddance to the plagiarist. So disgusting. I checked, and that person was the only one who dropped out. It must be her. She ran home in shame. Watching Cora is like watching a badass female lead in a novel, putting everyone in their place. I think that plagiarist is definitely a repeat offender. We can't let her get away with it and encourage this kind of behavior. Right. Let's expose her, dox her for everyone, and make an example of her. Reading these comments, I took a bite of a freshly baked cornbread bun, my heart no longer rippling with any emotion. I was now more certain than ever that Cora was behind all of this. Even if I didn't compete, she had no intention of letting me off the hook. Making an example of me, what a joke. Remembering the tragic fate of my parents in my past life, my eyes went cold. I tapped away on my phone and finally, under the most popular post praising Cora's competition piece, I posted a long comment. Does this piece seem familiar to anyone? The rest of the comment was long. At the end, I made sure to tag a few of the competition judges. Amidst the sea of praise, my comment stood out in no time. Get lost, hater. Just jealous because you can't stand to see someone else succeed. Do you even know who this is? How dare you spread rumors? Are you another contestant trying to sabotage her? I see what this is. You're just here to cause trouble. But what they said, it does remind me of something. The comments multiplied. An hour later, I received a message on my phone from a stranger. Who doesn't love a young, beautiful and talented girl? Cora's participation in the competition had attracted widespread attention. I really couldn't understand why someone like her, who lacked nothing, would target me, spread rumors, get my family and me killed, and drag me into the mud. But none of that mattered anymore. Looking at the private message on my phone, at that moment, All my hatred dissipated. Whatever methods she used against me, they were useless now. Now, I wanted to see just how far Cora would go down the wrong path. The moment I saw her artwork, I was 100% certain she had plagiarized my work. Because I had quit the competition, she had copied it even more brazenly, pursuing perfection down to the last detail, copying everything without omission. She didn't know that during my final revision, I had prepared a special gift for her. I hope she likes it. While chatting with my childhood friend, I told her about the strange things that had been happening. You're saying she's just like you in every way? That's impossible. Something's not right. Just wait. When you get back, I'm coming over to your house. Time flew by. When my parents and I returned from Dalian, Liam started calling me from a series of unknown numbers. It got so annoying that I finally answered. A roar came from the other end. Zoe, what did you do? Are you trying to kill Cora? You just wait, I'm not finished with you. That last line was something I should have been saying. I smiled, calmly hung up the phone, and opened my social media app. The moment I got his call, I knew my gift had been delivered. The app exploded with countless notifications. But this time they weren't attacking me. They were all tearing Cora down. My final, perfect revision had finally paid off. Cora was in trouble. Her work had been reported for plagiarism by multiple people, exposed, and she was disqualified from the competition. The news shocked everyone. When the official evidence was released, people couldn't stay silent anymore. It was the same group of familiar classmates, only this time, they were cursing out someone else. What genius! Is her competition piece just a Frankenstein's monster of things stolen from here and there? Who taught you to just copy anything and everything? I've got to hand it to you, plagiarizing so many famous artists and still managing to blend it all so seamlessly. I'm impressed. She's like an AI for art, a perfect stitching machine. She was so proud when talking about her work, and now that she's been exposed, she can't even stutter out half a word. I can't believe it. This is the person who pushed Zoe out and embarrassed our school? Zoe was done so dirty. I'm starting to feel bad for her. Why would she ever need to plagiarize someone like this? Reading these comments, I lay in bed and burst out laughing. Cora's account had been suspended. Liam tried to step in and say a few words for her, but his attempts to control the narrative failed, and he was verbally demolished. This time, she could get a taste of her own medicine. My childhood friend stood in my house, looking me up and down suspiciously. That classmate of yours, is she really that psychic? She knows what you're thinking? She even knows what you're going to draw? After I confirmed it, she stroked her chin, her brow furrowed. That can't be right. This is the 21st century. Something is definitely off. Let me take a look around your room. I have a really good sixth sense, trust me. She walked around my room, tut-tutaying. After a thorough search yielded nothing, she bent down to check under the bed and in the cracks of the walls, her face puzzled. This is so weird. I don't see anything. But I keep getting this feeling like I'm being watched. Her gaze swept over the area directly across from my desk. She looked a little longer at the backpack I habitually hung on my closet door. Zoe, do you always hang your backpack there? After I said yes, she took down the plushy keychain hanging from the bag. A few seconds later, she handed the toy to me and told me to feel it. Look, there's something inside. When I pulled out the miniature camera from inside, I froze. Liam had given me this keychain casually when we first started dating. I never imagined he had targeted me from the very beginning. By that logic, this camera had been with me throughout our entire relationship. No wonder Cora had all my drafts, no wonder she knew my every move so clearly. My friend urged me to go to the police. I stopped her, asking her to keep it from my parents for now. Not yet. Let's wait a little longer. If there are any new developments, I'll let you know. I needed to wait just a little bit more. Liam and Cora had a massive falling out. After being called out for plagiarism, Cora couldn't handle the blowback and immediately blamed everything on Liam, crying to anyone who would listen. It was all Liam. He made me do it. I told him we shouldn't, but he forced me. And this painting wasn't my original idea either. He told me to copy Zoe, who knew Zoe had no real talent, so no matter how much of a simp he was, Liam couldn't stomach that kind of slander. He tried to explain, red-faced and flustered, but Cora cut him off. Is your reputation more important than mine? Shut up. Too bad their classmates weren't idiots anymore. This time when Cora spoke, no one defended her. In fact, wherever Cora went, she was met with glares and contempt. In just a few short days, she couldn't take the feeling of being trampled on. All her anger was directed at Liam. Liam, you're just a dog I keep around. All you know is how to cling to me, you're completely useless. And you were the one who said Zoe was talented. You got close to her for my sake, and for what? What kind of man are you? When you drugged Zoe, didn't you promise I would definitely win first place in this competition? You're worse than a dog, you. A sharp slap landed across Cora's face. She stared at Liam in disbelief, unable to believe he would hit her. Are you crazy? Ah. Cora had just opened her mouth when another slap followed. Liam's eyes were bloodshot. He looked at Cora, seething and grinding his teeth. Shut up. If you hadn't been so high profile, how would Zoe have found out? You idiot. Don't you dare mention the drugging. Who do you think I did all that for? Cora, have some damn decency. With their biggest secret exposed, Liam was furious, hissing his words in a low voice. After being slapped twice, Cora couldn't bear the humiliation. Tears streamed down her face as she said she wanted to cut ties with Liam for good. Liam panicked. His eyes widened, the whites shot through with red, and he roared. Don't you fucking think about it. I'm going to be tied to you for the rest of my life. When I arrived with the police, he and Cora were tangled in a physical fight. There was a clear power difference. Right in front of all of us, he kicked Cora, sending her tumbling down the stairs from the doorway. You and I arg. Seeing Cora land face down at the bottom of the stairs, motionless, Liam's face went deathly pale. Cold sweat began to form on his forehead. But before he could even react, his eyes met ours. Seeing the police officers behind me, Liam collapsed to the ground. Watching him being put into the police car, I finally felt a sense of relief. It turns out my depression in my last life wasn't something that just happened. Whenever he had the chance, Liam would give me small doses of antidepressants. A normal person should never take that kind of medication randomly. When my checkup this time around revealed a problem, I had a faint suspicion that something was wrong. This time I finally heard it with my own ears. And besides that, there was the matter of the hidden camera he installed. I hadn't even gotten to settle that score with him yet. The whole thing started because Liam and Cora saw my talent and wanted to use me to pave the way for her. After reporting it to the police, I found out that Cora had been reposting my work on international websites all along. The reason they did what they did in my past life was to make sure I could never paint again. As they were taken away in an ambulance and a police car respectively, Liam shot me a look full of hatred. Seeing that look, my eyelid twitched. I immediately turned to the police officer and said, I refuse any settlement. I want him to do hard time. Amidst Liam's furious curses, I was in an excellent mood. Cora injured her spine and leg. After she recovered, she walked with a permanent, almost comical limp. The damage was for life, she would never be the same. Unable to handle the blow, Cora was expelled from school and had a mental breakdown, eventually ending up in a psychiatric hospital. Liam was also expelled. The news about him drugging me and secretly installing a hidden camera was also posted online, clearing my name. At least I won't have to see him for several years. A long prison sentence was what he deserved. There's a competition every year, but there are no do-overs in life. In this life, I successfully escaped the fate of my previous one. By the end of the year, my first art book was successfully published. I focused all my energy on my studies. The following year, I entered the competition again. This time, I won first place. Standing on the award stage, I thought of Cora one last time. A privileged upbringing and environment gave her a shortcut to the top, but it also made her more susceptible to temptation while standing on that peak. The higher she climbed, the more precarious her position became. Without a solid foundation to support her, her end was inevitable, a fall from a great height, shattering into pieces. Looking at my family and friends beside me, I tilted my head up slightly. Today was another beautiful day. The end.